Hi everyone, Slap the Knee Suit Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Black MIDI album, Cavalcade. This is the newest full-length LP from UK rock outfit Black MIDI, their sophomore effort following the critically acclaimed Schlagenheim in 2019, one of the most daring and creative post-punk records I've heard in a while. It is not a perfect LP, but if Black MIDI showed anything on that project, it's their willingness to just totally screw conventions. And if anything defines Cavalcade, I think it's that. So much so, the band doesn't even sound like they're playing in the same genre at this point, even with post-punk being the very fluid and umbrella type genre that it is. If anything, the band has gone full avant-prog on this one, with a violent blend of jazz, art, noise, and math rock. For some music fans, this LP may seem like it's coming totally out of left field, like the sounds you're hearing here are beyond belief. But Black MIDI's efforts here actually plug into the UK's rich history of boundary-pushing rock. Whether you're talking about prog legends like King Crimson, numerous bands from the Canterbury scene, as well as Henry Cow's Rock in Opposition, Black MIDI doesn't base the entirety of their efforts in that style on this LP, though. For one, the band does their damnedest to deliver the most hyper-aggressive and noisy take on the style they possibly can. Their approach is so extreme, Cavalcade will most likely appeal not to your average prog fan, but your average punk or no-waver. Black MIDI also takes care on this LP to lace this track list with the kind of whimsical balladry the indie set would love. I mean, all in all, this record is a lot to take in. Trying to explain it in the abstract makes it sound almost random or nonsensical. Like, there's no possible way it could all make sense together, especially considering it's reduced down to 40 minutes and 8 tracks. And yet, for the most part, it does. What Cavalcade lacks in overall cohesion, it easily makes up for in awe-inspiring beauty and insanity. The opening track here, John L., is sure to either blow minds or break mute buttons. Either way, it's a song that is nearly impossible to listen to casually. It demands a reaction from you. It forces a reaction, which it does with syncopated drum and guitar passages, honking horn leads, chirping violin, and piano embellishments that sound like the entire freaking thing is just getting thrown down the stairs. It's a cacophony worthy of the title Cavalcade. Plus, on top of it, there's this intense, nightmarish spoken word that sounds like something, I don't know, out of the Captain Beefheart playbook, which is really just the icing on top. Now, the ending of this track flows quickly into the following Marlene Dietrich, where we have a total 180 in terms of mood, as this track is an eccentric ballad with lovely string work, starts very subtle and artsy like a Wild Beasts song, especially on those hushed vibrato vocals, but as the song opens up emotionally and instrumentally, it runs more like a classic piece of Scott Walker or like some old school 60s lounge or Blue-Eyed Soul. But the following cut drives us right back into the chaos. The intro features a tense, crunchy groove that reminds me of like a Primus record, but without the slap bass. The whole thing quickly smooths out into this gorgeous, mathy jazz rock with plucky melodic embellishments slipping in and out of frame. The second half builds intensely into this procession of grooves and riffs that thrash about wildly, eventually hitting this buzzing, thunderous Zappa-style crescendo of instrumentation where you have all of these layers just hammering on the same melodic theme. Plus the sudden synth dive bomb at the end that finishes the whole track out. Hilarious. The song Slow features more tense, mathy jazz rock with a guitar lead that just sticks in my freaking head. There's a somewhat spacious breakdown in the middle of the track, and the instrumental build from there is organic and immaculate, with the band occasionally hitting these lush, thick, descending chord progressions that are just so incredibly sinister and eargasmic at the same time. This whole portion of the song, really the track in general, feels like that moment in a Twilight Zone episode where the main character realizes no matter what, they're doomed. So again, even though this record is not super long, just 40 minutes or so, there's still a lot to take in, a lot to digest, and the song Diamond Stuff is kind of like that lengthy breather in the middle of the record to sort of settle in. Really one of the only moments moments on this LP I think you can listen to casually or find some true calm in. And while much of the time I am pretty enchanted with its subtlety, I do wish it came to a stronger instrumental conclusion at any point, really. Though I do appreciate the gentle acoustic arpeggios and woodwinds at a few points, sounding like something off of Grizzly Bear's Yellow House. The vocals on Dethroned bring that Scott Walker vibe back with a touch of David Bowie as well. It's almost like if Black Star had become a tense jazz prog epic. And I suppose the performance on this track is tight. For the most part, the energy is there. But compositionally speaking, this is actually one of the more tame and predictable moments on the LP. The instrumental layering is nowhere near as dense or creative, and it's somewhat underwhelming for it. Thankfully, the heat does turn back up on the song Hogwash and Balderdash, though the brevity of it leaves it feeling like a more condensed and aggressive version of everything we've been hearing up until this point. Regardless, I think the track does work as a quick explosive prelude to the lengthy finisher, Ascending Forth, which is a lusciously arranged piece featuring elements of indie folk, classical, and jazz. I love the odd croons, the smooth finger picking, the super sweet chord changes. This track quiets any doubt that Black MIDI could write at serious length and play with some real finesse. And yes, it's a very odd, beautiful, powerful finish to an odd, beautiful, powerful record, which I love quite a bit. I think has a super strong first half, but there are a few tracks past that point that, in my opinion, could have been improved somewhat. But regardless of any hangups I have with Cavalcade, Black MIDI stays being one of the most interesting and exciting bands in rock music today. Feeling a decent 2-strong 8 on this one, Tran. Zishin, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video that you could check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Cavalcade, Black MIDI, forever.